National Heritage Week 2021. Oranmore Heritage has participated in National Heritage Week for many, many years. Under the very capable stewardship of former chairperson Kathleen Cannon, Oranmore Heritage has undertaken several projects. These very interesting projects include our farming heritage, the Connacht Rangers and local military, early 20th century conflicts remembered, the cartographic history of Oranmore, the history of policing in Oranmore, and stone walls in Oranmore. All of these projects were thoroughly researched by members of the Oranmore Heritage Group and are a very valuable resource now for our local history. However, this year things are different because of the restrictions of the COVID pandemic. So Oranmore has decided to undertake a review of Coimisiún Béaloideasa. Coimisiún Béaloideasa, or the Folklore Commission, was established in 1935 by the Irish government. Its objective was to record and preserve the traditions and the customs and the culture of the Irish people before this was forgotten. Following the appointment of Professor Seamus Delargy, he took the initiative to establish the National School Project. What was involved in this project was that the children from the primary schools would collect stories from their parents, their grandparents, and any other members of the community, and they would record these stories, take them to their teacher. The teacher would then correct them and submit them to Coimisiún Béaloideasa. Over 50,000 children participated, and over 5,000 schools across the country also participated. So, for the purpose of this project, we decided we would take a look at the primary schools in Oranmore who participated. On Clougher, the convent, and the teacher who submitted the work was Evelyn Greeley in 1937. The boys' primary school, the principal was Micheál O'Sullivan and the assistant was Benny Houlihan. On Goran, which is Mary National School, the teachers listed there were Donal O'Riordan and Sean Branagh. And Towan National School, the teacher there was C. Ban Ithrainer. So for now, we looked at the boys' school and we took the work of one Kevin Trayers. Now the Trayers family are living in Renville for many, many generations. Kevin and his twin brother Hugh attended the boys' primary school in 1937. They were twins and they were both ordained to the priesthood. Both brothers went to the USA in 1952 on a boat journey that took 6 weeks. Both Kevin and Dennis served in the parish of Wichita in Kansas. Kevin died in 2004, and both brothers are buried side by side in Cherryville in Kansas. Kevin's grand-nephew, Jonathan Trayers, has very kindly obliged us and has offered to read these stories for us. And for that, Jonathan, we are very grateful. Now, some of the stories involve the destruction by Cromwell of the church in Mary, Clough na Malacht, and Renville. These are the stories, but there are several more. This is merely the tip of the iceberg. So, Jonathan, we are very grateful to you, but I would also like to acknowledge their support from Mary and James Trayers, also who have participated. So over to you, and again, thank you very much.
Taken down by Coimisiún O'Trower, Rin Will from his mother. When Cromwell was in Ireland, he and his soldiers visited the parish of Oranmore. There was a church in Ballinacorty, the ruins of which can still be seen in the Ballinacorty graveyard. He had the church destroyed. On the opposite side of the road from the church there are ruins of another building. Here was a monastery which Cromwell's soldiers also destroyed. There was an underground passage connecting the church with the monastery and going out into the lands of the neighbouring farmer. The people of the village say that there's gold hidden here somewhere. Cluck na Waller. When there is a low tide, there is a passage across Oranmore Bay. In the passage, which can be walked on at low tide, there is a stone called by the people Cluck na Waller. The following story is told concerning it. A priest was answering a sick call and was hurrying across the passage. He stumbled on the rock, and since then it has been called Cluck na Waller. Rinville. The village of Rinville, is situated about 1.5 miles south of Oranmore village, on the road to Thowan Island. Rinville townland is a peninsula jutting out into Oranmore Bay. Phil was a Firbolg chieftain. There is a quay to the west of the village, where the boats from Connemara land their turf and sell it to the people. The people of Renville do not possess any boats, and they don't engage in fishing. The houses of Renville village are bigger and afford greater accommodation than ordinary farmers' houses in other districts in Ireland. Immediately inside the front door there is a small hallway. To each side of the hall there are 3 rooms, that is to say 6 rooms in all, in addition to the attic or loft. Formerly this village, Renville, was a great centre for visitors. Wealthy people from other districts came here with their liveried servants. The tenant farmers let them stay in their houses to those visitors for the summer season. The visiting family occupied one side of the house and their servants to the other side. The owner or tenant and his family occupied the outhouses for the period during which the dwelling was occupied and returned to the house when the visitors departed. The village is situated on a hill overlooking Galway Bay, and there is a fine view of Galway city some 8 miles away. Now there is only 14 houses in the Renville village. Some few hundred years ago there were hundreds of houses in the village. Those houses were together and occupied the site where Renville Woods now stands. It is told that a man returned from the Battle of Aughrim and brought some terrible disease from where practically all the people died. They were buried without coffins and in a fort which is situated on the field owned by a farmer called MacDonagh. There are in all 4 forts in the village. One of these is known as Canuck-la-Madge side. The people of Renville get their supply of water from 4 wells situated in close proximity to the houses. Recently a pump has been erected. Read by Jonathan Traers, grand-nephew of Coimisiún Béaloideasa Éireann, Kevin Traers.